So what we tend to have is when we are just simply lecturing at our students, we have this bunch of people here who become relatively disengaged in what we're talking about because we see it, you've all told me about it up there, and they're simply just seeking meaning from us, right? They're not really trying to come up with critical thinking themselves, they're seeking meaning from us as the instructors. But the whole idea of university is to create critical thinking, right? It's to get students thinking critically about things. And if we are just simply showing them that, yeah, you listen to everything that we've got to say about a topic area, they start listening to everything else that comes out and bombarded with all of this different types of media and the bad things about social media. And we don't develop that element of critical thinking. And we mentioned it, this group up the back here, that through some of these types of things, working in teams, which might not necessarily always work, but working in teams and discussions between the instructor and peers, we can help to develop that element of critical thinking. And again, I've mentioned it already that we tend to find that in lectures, the information all comes from us from the front. And this is a quote here, or a saying. It's more of a saying, very popular within the UK. And the saying is, if these walls could speak, they'd be able to tell a story, right? And I think that saying is no more relevant than in a university setting. Because think about how much education goes on in this room alone in this university. Think how much has been taught in here. And what this is saying is, if these walls around us could speak, think how much they could tell us. Yeah, it's quite nice. But you know, the really sad thing about this is that we have a set of students that come to class, right? And they can talk, they can speak, but they don't. Yeah, they don't. Because they're either one, too scared to talk in class, or two, it's too much of a big setting for them to talk because they don't want to speak in front of other students that are around about. Yeah? So it's thinking about ways, how can we start to overcome that? And I hope I can introduce something to you a little bit later. So like I said, we have this set of students that come who are meaning seekers, but what we can potentially do is change them into meaning makers. And that potentially comes from that element of discussion, that element of critical thinking, and possibly doing pre-work before coming to class and flipping the class to ways that they can construct that meaning together with us as academics. And that helps us to produce this set of people, right? That helps us to produce this set of people who have ability in practice. And how do we do it from just a logistical point of view? Well, I'm very open with my students and telling them that I don't have all of the answers. I don't know everything about my topic area. I don't know everything about digital marketing. I really don't. I know a lot about it, but I don't know everything about it. I don't know everything about pedagogic studies. Yeah? I know what I know, but I don't know everything. And if I did, then I'd probably be a millionaire, right? So it's admitting to students that we can't tell you everything, but we can learn together, yeah? We can do it in collaboration. And that's how we generate discussion. That's what I've done today, in the most part, with you guys. It's about you guys discussing, using your own experiences, and we construct learning, yeah? We used the constructivist learning approach today in class. And on top of that, we can maybe utilize and introduce some technology. So what examples do we have then? And how could we introduce this? Well, I'm sure you use a virtual learning environment here at the King Faisal University. I don't know if it's something like Moodle, possibly, but within these platforms we can have discussion forums, so we can assign students into discussion forums. We can set up quizzes for them to take, so we can assess after class, have they gone past that threshold concept within our discipline? We can create private group forums as well, so that nobody else within the class can see what they're discussing in their team. We could introduce podcasts, And podcasts are just those audio files. We listen to somebody. Now that might be us as an instructor. We might be listening to, the students might be listening to us as an instructor through an audio file. But the way I tend to use this, and again, works for me in my discipline, is use experts within the field. And I assign them to listen to a podcast from an expert within the field. And it complements some of the stuff that I may be teaching. And it's a different means to simply tell them to go off and read the textbook, right? Because again, earlier on, we highlighted that we all learn differently. For some people, the podcast will be fantastic. For other people, they'll prefer the textbook. But if we provide more than one means for them to learn, then we're meeting multiple needs. We can also do things like screencasts. So if you're in computer science, for example, or if you have a piece of software that you use with students, then we can use software like Camtasia or Awesome Screenshot to do a video capture of our screen showing how to actually use that software. Yeah. So, and again, that can be far more useful than simply reading a textbook about how to use that software. Again, we might provide short summary videos. Now, those short summary videos might help us to overcome some of the challenges that were mentioned here. So some people had mentioned that the knowledge of the students wasn't good enough, right? Coming to class, the knowledge wasn't good enough. So maybe we provide short summary videos on basic concepts before they come to class. These might be only a couple of minutes long, 2, 3, 4 minutes long. Or it might be that after class we provide that type of content that's only 2, 3, 4 minutes long, summarising the key concept from our lecture. Because let's face it, when we do a lecture, there's maybe a couple of learning objectives in there. But we provide material that lasts the full hour or 2 hours. So maybe we can provide that short summary lecture. In addition, we could provide a set of lectures online with a series of tasks to complete as well. That might be before coming to class. And then we set up the class in a similar concept to what we did here today. We might also do expert video interviews. I just recently did one with a colleague, with a guy from Twitter. Yeah. So what's more interesting than us interviewing someone from Twitter rather than getting the students to read about how to use Twitter or what they're doing? So this interview was about social learning, and this helped us to bring the students into the activity because we asked them to provide us with questions for the interview, and we then asked the interviewee from Twitter the questions that the students provided us, right? And then we have it there as a nice video. We might flip it. We might flip it over to the students and ask them to create videos or ask them to create podcasts as a different form of interaction and a different form of learning. And again, we've highlighted already the use of social communities and social networks.
Do you think this tools, is a part of e-learning or
Is it a part of e-learning or
ordinary learning?
Or e-learning or
Ordinary.
general learning?
General.
To be honest, I think this is mixed. I think we're starting to blur the line between e-learning and learning in general, where we're using a mix of both.
If you go back even to slide before, you said you brought up lectures, videos, we have videos.
Yep,
It is a part of e-learning.
absolutely. But we can,
General learning, face-to-face.
yeah. So there's the opportunity to do that. Yeah, there's the opportunity to develop it as an online learning type of class. So it might be blended or fully online. Yeah, so we can use the technology to.
You support the e-learning, you don't do more physical learning.
I tend to use this to support physical learning. Yeah, I don't really deliver any classes completely online, but my university does. And it's a way of teaching as well. It has its benefits, but it has its drawbacks. There's probably a conversation that we can have offline. But again, there's lots of different technologies that we can utilize. There's lots of different areas that we can go to for expertise, such as videos from the likes of YouTube, online certifications as well. I bring a lot of online certifications, industry certifications into my class within the digital space, particularly from the likes of Google, because they provide qualifications on analytics, they provide qualifications on general digital marketing skills. Now again, I appreciate this might not work in all of our areas, but one that I think would work for you is this one here, Mentimeter. And this is a software that I use to try and encourage engagement and interaction in the classroom. It's effectively a question, an online question and answer, where I can pose a question on the board and the students can answer it in class without actually having to speak out. You can also run quizzes within this as well. And I actually want to give you a very quick product demonstration on this one, because I think it might be something that you might be able to introduce into your class. So when you're going to this site, you go to www.mentimeter.com, and once you log in, you get to this screen here, this platform here. And what I'm going to do is I'll start off with creating a new folder. So the new folder, I'm just going to call it Training Day 3. Okay. Once that's created, I can then click on the folder. So you might create folders for all your different classes within here. Okay, so if you've got multiple classes, you might create different folders. I'll add a presentation. Again, Training Day 3. Create presentation. Okay, so once I've done that, I'm then taken into the back end of the software here. And I can choose multiple different types of questions here. So I've got multiple choice questions, I can have multiple choice by images, I can have a word cloud, I can have scale questions, open-ended Q&A questions here as well. I'm going to start off by showing you one of the multiple choice questions. And here I'm going to ask a simple question of who won the World Cup 2018? Okay, so I entered my text into this box here, and you can see that it then comes along the top, right? Down the right hand side I have my options, and within here I'll put Brazil, I'll put France, I will put Scotland, and Scotland, and I will put Saudi Arabia. Okay. Then once I've put the answer options in at the side here, I can move down and I can change the format in terms of how it's laid out, from bar chart to a donut chart, pie chart, and so on. I can select show the correct answer, and I can select if I want to show this in percentages or just general numbers. So I'm just going to leave it as general numbers. But because I've selected show correct answer, I need to actually go up and select the correct answer. So I'm pretty sure it was France that won the World Cup. Okay? Once I've done that, I can go into the tab up in the right hand corner here, customize, and I can customize with these different options here. I can change the background colors and so on, just if you're interested in that type of thing. But what I then do is I hit present, and then the question comes up on the board here. But what you'll notice now is it says go to menti.com and use the code 511110. What I would like to ask you to do now is just on your mobile phones, if you can please go to menti.com for me and type in that code. Okay, so immediately when you go to this website, you'll be prompted to put that code in. So just Menti, MENTI.com.
Where can I put the
So
code?
you're just going to, so that's mentimeter.com. You just go to Menti.com. MENTI.
.com.
Yep. Okay. And then hit search. Oh, it's changed dimension. Can you go to the actual web browser? So if you just go to your web browser on the phone and just put menti.com.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, so what you then see is that people from inside the classroom here are able to actually answer the question. So we can tell here that there's 4 people have now answered the question. But what you see is that the results are coming through, right? Now, if we want to ask the question, but we don't have everyone copying each other's answers, we can hide the answer. Yeah, so I can come over here, I can select this option, and I can select hide results. Yeah? So now I've hidden the results, but I can still see how many people have actually answered the question. So there's 7 people answered the question here. Okay? Once I feel as though I've got enough people that have actually answered, I can open it up again. Yeah, so I can show the results. So here I can select show results, and then I can select show the correct answer. Okay? So it then would block out this one, block out this one, block out this one, and it would show in a deeper color that this is the correct answer. Now this is really useful if we've just taught something and we want to see if the students have actually learned what we've just taught them. Yeah? So we can have any type of question on this and find out, are the students actually learning? And it's again really useful when it comes to exam revision time as well, and can be a bit more of an interesting way to get the students engaged. And what I actually find through using this software is the more that students see they're getting their results right, the more that students answer the correct answer, they then become more willing in the class to actually put up their hand, because it builds their confidence, right? It gets them more confident in actually answering. So this is a really useful tool in terms of encouraging engagement, encouraging interaction within the class. So if I come out of that one, I can then set up other questions. So all I do for that is I go to add slides, and that adds in a new question format for me. And I can create a word cloud in here where I can ask a question of, say for instance, describe Saudi Arabia in one word. Then they answer it, and the answer to the question all forms this nice word cloud there. Okay, so it's just different ways of asking questions. Another important one that we can use is the open-ended option. And here within this one, we can put in a question. Again, I'll put describe Saudi Arabia. Okay, and we have speech bubbles one by one and a grid format here as well. But importantly, what we can actually do here is we can filter for any profanities. So it makes sure that anybody who's swearing, anybody who is putting anything that's inappropriate in their answer, it doesn't appear on the screen. But we know as instructors if they have done that, because it comes up with a bunch of question marks, an asterisk, and an exclamation mark. So we can understand if they have done that or not. So what I'll do here is I can go and present this one. And again, we can see here one person has answered, and it comes up on the screen there. So the more people that answer, the more this number goes up, and the more boxes get filled. Okay, so we might ask a question there, about our discipline, explaining something again, I might ask the students to explain the 4 Ps of marketing here, or explain search engine optimization, and all of the answers come up. Yeah.
In what way this is different from Kahoot and Quizlet?
Well, Kahoot is slightly different in the sense that it doesn't quite give as many options as what this software does. This also allows us to set up quizzes in the sense that we can start to create competition within the class as well. So we can have a quiz where the students enter a leaderboard within the class. So you put in all of your questions within the quiz. The students get points for answering the questions correctly. They get points for how quickly they answer the questions as well, but they also get deducted some points if they answer the wrong answer. So it is very similar to Kahoot. So if you've used that, then great, that's maybe something that is really useful for you and your class, but this is the one here that I've most experience in using and find good results from it as well. So that's pretty much everything that I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions, or if there's anything that I can help you with, then please just come and see me just now. But I do really appreciate all of your efforts today and all of your discussions. If you don't discuss and if you don't come and work together, it doesn't work, right? So I do appreciate all of that. Okay, thanks.